All right, welcome back, Calvary, all my game changers, and people that are out to just take charge of your life, take more responsibility, build what you want, be the carpenter of your future. This is the Maturity Project. I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears. We are dedicated to growth and development. By the way, I know that there's plenty of people that will watch this that have been on the channel. They have watched several videos. This is not new to them, but this channel is dedicated to 8 different areas of maturity that all support fulfillment in life. So those areas, quick recap, is the physical body is 1, 2 is community, 3 is cognitive or intelligence, 4 is emotion, 5 is finance, 6 is business, 7 is sexuality, and 8 spirituality or purpose. So today's conversation is the things that people typically don't realize when they're in a pursuit of a goal. And you've already done it. You have done this. It's very common that these things are done. The thing is that we're so... Most of us are stuck in a gear, and it's really hard to understand once you've achieved one of your goals. But what it is the pursuit of a goal, the maintenance of a goal, and the acquiring of the goal, the maintenance of a goal, and the development or evolving of that goal, all of which sometimes does take different resources in order to make transitions. So it is not something that once you've acquired it, it doesn't have any other needs. It doesn't have any other resource requirements. It's not something like that. It often does take something, but usually when you get to achieve your goal and you have the realization that you've achieved your goal, it doesn't feel like there's any work associated with it. It feels like it's just something that is required to maintain or continue to hold on to it when you do have that awareness. So when we're in a pursuit, what is commonly killing our goal once we've acquired it is that there is very commonly a transition. It's like, what does it take to quit smoking? Well, that'll be specific to you, because smoking has a dynamic issue for a lot of people, because it's not just the ingredients that have addictive properties in the direct sense, like nicotine in a cigarette. There are toxins in the cigarette, or things that are just not good for you, that the body also develops kind of a dependency on, because it's just the way the body's processes typically work. And then there is the habits associated with it in the physical sense, like fingers and movement, stuff like that. Then you have the mental framework that is, if you do X, then you deserve a cigarette, right? You've earned the cigarette. The other is, I'm going through way too much and I need this to help decompress. And then then it's just a matter of, did you really want to quit? So it's a multitude of things that actually are required in order to quit smoking. But when you smoke, those things aren't required, because you're not quitting. So the gumption and effort it takes in the beginning to quit smoking is more work than what it takes to maintain not smoking. But you're addressing the areas that need to be addressed that are specific to the outcome. It's not just one thing. You quit smoking and you never pick up another cigarette. You have to address the other pieces. That does take more effort. And then the effort has to be maintained. So there's a maintenance to it. And then you evolve it by replacing the scenarios of the habit. Like I get in my vehicle and I grab a cigarette. I stop at, the gas station and I pick up whatever I pick up. My sister-in-law used to pick up, she would get a Dr. Pepper, peanuts, and a pack of cigarettes. And she'd get in the car, she'd put the peanuts into her Dr. Pepper, and then would drink it. Typically, it was like a bottle of Dr. Pepper. She'd drink that and eat the peanuts at the same time. I've never tried it. Don't really care to. I don't have the most fond memories of her, and that has imprint values that go into other things like Dr. Pepper and peanuts. Several other things, too, that I'm okay with not dealing with, and I'm not even realizing that I hadn't even thought about it, but that's, a reality of it. And then she'd have a cigarette. So if she were to stop at the gas station after quitting smoking and went in and got her peanuts and pepper, Dr. Pepper, the habit of just asking for the pack of cigarettes would be common, and she'd have to put effort into not even asking. Get into the car, and you're keeping track of peanuts, a Dr. Pepper, and a pack of cigarettes. And when you get in the car, you're keeping track of the peanuts and Dr. Pepper and have this weird sensation of not having the cigarettes with you. And it's like, damn. And then a reminder, I'm quitting. And then there would be the drinking putting the peanuts into the Dr. Pepper, drinking it. All of these are actions that we're lining up in the way that we've experienced things based off of thought habits and physical habits. So it makes it more challenging, but it does have different resource requirements in order to facilitate. Use it on the other side. That was actually quitting something. But when it comes to accomplishing or achieving something, it's similar because you build it in the other direction. So when you create or formulate a new habit, it's the things that your body becomes addicted to that become the easiest things to do. So the goal is not to have new addictions, because addictions often come with consequences that are undesirable. So if we're going to understand what's going on with these goals that we have, we are working towards that. We spend time researching on average or learning something about achieving that goal. And then you move into the actions to accomplish the goal. And then you go into, the trial and error of that, because you've researched it, but now you actually have to put that research into action. And then the acquiring of a goal, often we don't even notice when we acquire it. We just seem to look right past it because we're used to the pursuit, not necessarily like as if it's some sort of actual finish line you can see directly in front of you. And if you just take one more hard step forward or, push one more, stride, then, you're going to be either at the line or just before it, but it's still like right there. And, it's just going to take a little bit more effort. You got it. A lot of times we don't have that awareness because a lot of our goals are first-time intervals. We don't really know what it's like to get there. And when people explain what it's like to get there, it is too esoteric for us because we don't have enough of the real living experience in order to truly tell us to qualify it. I did it. I made it. I've achieved it. A lot of times we have that realization in hindsight. And unfortunately, some of those times the hindsight is you look back and say, I don't know what happened here. I had it. I didn't realize it, and then I lost it. Now, I don't know when I lost it, and it must not have been that great if I didn't realize I lost it. Sometimes what you're envisioning, the outcome of a specific goal, has some sort of like celebration, right? It's like everybody's going to stop and start dancing in the streets because you've achieved it. It's obviously we all know that's not going to happen, just being a little bit, facetious with it. But the point of it is more of, it might be so minuscule in the reality, but the idea of it is significant. It's like, wow, I can't wait to accomplish this. And then you accomplish it and you're like, damn, I didn't even realize I did it because it was just not that, it was kind of flat, or it was nowhere near the level of excitement I thought it would be, or it didn't have that life-changing moment where you just realize like, I made it. It wasn't like struggling to pay your paycheck or pay your bills, on a weekly basis or whatever. And then you've got this significant surplus of money in the bank and you don't have to worry about that anymore. It's not typically like that. But it all depends on what your goals are and what your effort is and your understanding of it. So we can pursue a lot of things, and often we have more than one goal we're in pursuit of. It's the checks and balances and establishing milestones that can be really challenging, because if you don't know what it's like to achieve it, it's really hard to understand what the hell it is you're even working on. So once you've achieved something, if you're aware of it, the acquiring of that, the pursuit's one thing. Then you have the acquiring of it. So that's actually going, okay, well, I've caught up to it. Now I need to, bring it in and recognize exactly what I've received for the efforts. That may cost you a transition of resources. It's no longer the need for the pursuit as much. Now it is the need for, the positioning what has been acquired. This could be the pursuit of a promotion at work. You really have it as a goal. You're working towards it, and you finally get to a place where you're like, hey, you know what? I've accomplished my goal. I wanted to get the raise. I talked to him, and I wanted the promotion. I've talked to them about it, and now I've got there. You know, they've given me the promotion. Now you have to actually transition into the skills of doing the job, not just the act of telling them that you're the best to do it, right? And then the details that you didn't realize were required in order to be good at it, or even hell, just proficient, let alone good. You know, so then you've got to learn these new skills that are necessary. And then there is the maintenance of it, which is then you have to facilitate resource allocation to manage that thing so that it doesn't die on the vine. You know, that while you continue to pursue more goals, that it doesn't go through its own neglect and slide back or fall out of your grasp, right? To become a goal that you had won and lost. And then the evolution of it. You want to evolve things. You know, there are very few goals that you have that won't have evolutionary values or, developing values, right? Even the same thing if you go to money. Well, if you're like, hey, if I had $30 million available to me that's in the bank, that's my money, it's after tax, what am I going to do with that money? Well, from my experience of every single person that has been bought, a company was bought out or they became wealthy or rich wasn't overnight, but the decision to become rich may have been overnight, like a buyout. Like somebody decides that they're going to buy your company, you have it, you've been working on this thing for as long as you've been working on it. It could be a decade or more, or however long, whatever. It has been consuming enough of your life, and the next thing you know, somebody comes in and be like, hey, I'll give you, $30 million for your business. Like, that's a lot of money, especially compared to where I'm at right now. Maybe I should take it, or what if I don't? It's a pretty fast decision. Yes, you're going to have to weigh things out and all of that, but once you make the decision, it's done usually. And then it's the process of the actual acquisition, so is the other person that's buying the company, and what do you do to adjust and all of that. But it can happen relatively quickly, but it is not going to be an overnight thing. Decisions may be overnight, but the actual application of that decision may take a little while, the unfolding of it. All of that takes resources. You have to continue to adjust. So when you get to, let's say, you get a promotion, is that it? You just want the one? Or do you need that to evolve into the next one, right? Continue on the path up, right? Or diversifying your skill set so you're doing something lateral, but yet you're diversifying your skill set so it technically has significant value towards the depth of your value, and you can call that a promotion even if it is lateral because you are upping your skill set. It may not show you a lot on the paycheck initially, but it will be strengthening your value and making you, more desirable and capable. It's actually capable first, then desirable, because you have to demonstrate the abilities typically. So, all right. So as far as that goes, it's more of what does it take to develop or to evolve whatever it is that your goal was. Relationships. You want to have a good, healthy relationship. Well, when you're looking at it from the outside, wanting to have one, then you've got to go through the process of acquiring that type of relationship, but you need to understand who the heck is going to be out there on the line, right? What bait are you using to draw in the ideal, mate, right? What ritualistic dance are you willing to do? What are you willing to demonstrate in order to get attention so that people can see you as being the ideal partner? So, there's one is on the surface is going to be the pursuit of the ideal partner. Have you gone through yourself to realize what your values are and to see what your value is, right? Are you a high value person or are you low on the stock market exchange, right? If you sleep with people really easily, you're not going to have a high exchange value in sex, but you might have more in something about your intelligence or personality, humor. You might have other areas that you actually have value in that makes you more high value than not. You may not have a whole lot of drama, but you have a whole lot of support for people. There's just other things, but just be aware that what we condition people in our lives, especially in relationships, especially in the beginning, what we condition people for then can later haunt us. But you're going to require, the resources in order to maintain and evolve that thing. I am always cautious, especially whenever it comes to dating. What you're pursuing likely does not have the pattern or the strategy within you to give you the greater result. You can still achieve the result, but it doesn't mean that it's the result you really want. And then maintaining that and evolving it can be a significant challenge, a chore, a feat. So it is really up to you about what you want to accomplish. But know that if you have not accomplished this goal before, there are things you don't know. There are going to be things you don't know, and if you don't know how to communicate with people that have accomplished it, you won't know it until you get there. And by the time you get there, you may be so ill prepared that it slips through your fingers. So learning how to communicate is a big piece. You do learn that in the Maturity Project. We do go over that as far as like actual in-depth training on how to communicate in such a way that you actually do make a desirable outcome. But with that, it does take something. It's not I'm going to mention that in an hour-long video or less. You're not going to get enough out of that. It's not going to be able to make applicable enough information to truly make a difference for you. It's going to have to be something a bit more substantial. Ultimately, the thing is that things can be hyper simple to the point that it doesn't seem like it matters to attribute something, right? Like, what does drinking more water at room temperature have anything to do with weight loss? What's what are the basic things? Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know I should be doing that. That you're like, yeah, whatever. It's not that important. How could it be that valuable? Well, we got a lot of that stuff, and that all that contributes to the foundation. And if you don't have a solid foundation, you're going to find yourself, dealing with some pretty rocky outcomes. Don't build a castle in a swamp, but make sure you really look into it. Now, you can take a swamp and turn it into an incredible foundation. Hell, Disney World in Orlando was built in a swamp, and now look at it. But that was enormous effort to build that up. So if you got a swamp right now in your foundation, let's go back and let's rebuild it. Let's put in the simple stuff first. Let's make sure we're working on the things that really make a difference. And then we can move into the other things. Because if you do miss these little pieces, they will come back to haunt you. So it's going to take something. And really, look, I don't want, and I'm doing the best that I can to try to connect in such a way that is sharing the life's experiences to make a bigger difference, so that you don't accomplish your goal and then end up losing it because you didn't know how to maintain it, or not realizing that that goal has this much maintenance requirement. It takes that much resource in order to maintain it. So let's get to the point where we really can, at least if nothing else, you can comprehend what it is. If you don't know what it is yet, you got time. Let's learn. Let's get into some things to actually develop ourselves. Instead of just kind of assuming it, somebody else has done it, why don't we learn from those people that have done it? Why don't we just, either that, or if you're going to be a trailblazer, let's start building a path behind you that you can lead people down. We'll just chop your way through the jungle just enough for you that'll be, taken back by the jungle in a week. Let's make this thing something other people can travel on. Everybody who's made it has had there are a lot of people along the way that have been a part of it. It's just a matter of, do you know about them or not? That's it. So let's condition it so that other people can follow and support and want to see you successful instead of wanting to tear you down. We're surrounded by a society that rewards narcissistic behaviors, to tear us apart, divide us, and to make the people that truly can accomplish something into the enemy until you are the one, right? I mean, let's face it, right now we have communists out there that are in the United States speaking to, the people that follow them because they think that communism and socialism are the desirable outcomes and that's what you should work on. These people are, spending $700,000 on a car, and they're like, eat the rich. It's like, what? You're telling us the tenets of communism are fantastic, but we should eat the rich? And you're buying a $700,000 car? You're the person that you're telling us to kill. Jesus, or the person you're telling us to eat, destroy you. So there's a lot of interesting hypocrisy. If you want to dissolve that, and if you notice those things in life where you're like, you know what, I can clearly see the hypocrisy in this situation. You don't want to become that. But a lot of us do, and we don't even realize it. The thing is this, if you're going to do it, let's figure out that you're doing it, and let's work on that. A lot of times you miss the stuff that's necessary in order to, facilitate the accomplishments, to actually get to your goal, what it takes to maintain that, and what it takes to evolve it. You don't know those things ahead of time, but you get really attached to it, and then a delusional approach to it, and you can't even replicate it because you've done this weird, sophisticated approach to something that really required just simplicity. So, yes, drinking more water is beneficial in weight loss, unless you're told medically not to drink more water. So, simple stuff like that. Anyway, share this video with the people in your life that you would really like to make some changes with. Make a meaningful conversation. And, let's get this thing going, man. Build that community. Get those people involved so that if nothing else, hey, man, you're building stuff around you. It may not work tomorrow, but the future is definitely going to be more within your reach. So it's all up to you and the effort that we put in. All right, till next time, I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears. This is the Maturity Project, and I really hope that you join me in this process. Like the video, help with the algorithm. Join, subscribe to the channel, and comment. Let the community and myself know you're out there and you're up to stuff. So, all right, till next time, let's get up to some stuff. Remember, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Let's not make anything there, right? We're not going to do that. That's not us. Till next time, we'll see you. Let's get up to some stuff together. See ya.